Howdy doody. Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This is my 1966 International 1200A pick-em-up truck. Previous videos we got this thing running. Now we're working on getting it driving, so we're doing maintenance things. Cooling system, fueling system. So yes, if you're not familiar with this truck, click the info card box, catch up. We did a will it run on this thing, we dragged it home, rear end was completely locked up from the rust. And age, sitting, this thing's been sitting, I can't remember, since the 80s, 86 or something like that. We got it running, it runs good, but we've got some issues. The main one that's just really staring me dead in the eyes is this one. This is the radiator, and if you can't tell, there's a few holes in it. And unfortunately, I'm gonna take a guess and say that the majority of you have never even heard nor seen this truck in your life. It's a pretty rare bird. She's cool, but parts are a little tough, especially big parts like said radiator. I've been doing some hunting. I've been really wanting to do this video for a while, but the trouble that I'm having is locating a replacement for this radiator and or a recore, just any sort of shop that'll do a recore on this thing for a decent price. And that just ain't happening. It's like $600 for a recore on this puppy. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. But the radiator shops in my area, yeah, the cheapest I think I was quoted was $575. For reference, a brand new radiator, aluminum radiator for something like a 72 F100 per se, runs about 180 bucks. So I did the right thing and ordered me one of them. And I know, yes, it's ugly. I hate aluminum radiators myself. They're bright and shiny, and when you're looking at a truck like this, it's the first thing you see. It sucks, I know. However, if you can make them work for 180 bucks in lieu of the alternative, spending $600, or if you want a brand new one, $750, that's dang near what I paid for the truck. So I'm not gonna do that. It's not worth it to me. My main goal with this thing isn't to make it a fully restored, period correct truck. I just want the thing to run and drive down the road and enjoy my time with it. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna try and Frankenstein this radiator together to make it work in this here truck. Dimensions are relatively the same, but we'll get into the couple issues that we're going to be running into here shortly. But for now, I'm going to get myself organized and we'll get started. Also, check this thing out. Picked this up at an old industrial warehouse. Found her on Marketplace. 30 bucks. Look at the detail on this thing. They just don't make tables like this anymore. I mean, that is a cool looking table. It swivels. Wow. So I think I'm going to use it as a little, tool stand, or when I'm right next to the truck, I can throw parts on it and such. Pretty cool little thing. Probably from the, 60s maybe? Could even be earlier than that. Not sure. So, like I said, let's jump on this thing. Start to get organized because I'm hoping I can make this thing work. Okay, so let's look at the main differences between the two radiators here. Basically, they're very similar. This is pretty much as close as I could find. They are very close, but they have some differences. Main being the bottom hose here the diameter is way off, and I do have a solution for that. So this one is about 2 1/4, and this one is a lot smaller. It's 1 3/4. So what we're gonna do there, I picked up a little exhaust adapter here that goes from 2 1/4 to, I think it's 1 7/8, which is close enough. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna attach the lower rad hose to here, cut us off a little piece, finagle her in there, and that should work out fine. The other glaring difference that we're gonna have to work with here are the dimensions. This rad, the core is about 28 wide, and this one is about 26. It's about 2 inches different. Height, 23. Height on this one is about 22 1/4. What that means for me is I'm going to have to do some finagling on the inside, on the core support, to basically make the brackets work. We'll deal with that when we get to it. My goal with this whole thing is, if I try to save this, whatever it is, $400, and I fail, I would like to have the opportunity to use this core to bring in and get a recore, if that makes sense. So I'd like to leave this piece here unmolested if I can. I was thinking about hacking off the brackets off of this rad here and using those to extend the width on this one. But I'd like the option, if this doesn't work out, to chalk up my losses on the $180 that this cost. I think it was $180. It might have been cheaper than that. I can't remember. And take that one in for a recore, and then just, cry myself to sleep that night on the bill that I'll be facing, and then get over it when I'm chugging this thing down the road, enjoying myself.
A huge steaming ball of foreshadowing.
So, time to get to work. Enough pussyfooting around. I'm having one of those, moral dilemma, where I know it's only been a few seconds, and I apologize for all the talking that's happening in this episode. But I've been off camera just fiddling with this thing for like the last hour. I'm having too many things that are requiring like if I just did this, I could probably make it work. The hood closes, but it's really tight. I'm hitting the supports up top, so if I just kind of bent up this hood support, it would close all right. The hoses are close, but they're not perfect. So it's like, if I just snug it tight enough, it'll probably be all right. If I cut this aluminum and pull it in, I'm going to be sacrificing one of my welds that are holding it, but I have a spot weld here, so it'll probably be all right. And all those things are just adding up to the point where, yes, I think I could make this work, but is it worth saving $400 and or risking ruining this radiator and not being able to return it, so then it costing an extra $180? And I'm just going back and forth, and really what I come back to in all this is this. The Mercury and the Jag are two cars that I'm going to keep forever. They're going to be in my garage no matter what. Hard times come over, life happens, and I got to sell some things. Those aren't for sale. This truck, I really like it. I want to get it on the road. I want to enjoy it. Do I see myself keeping this until the day I die? I don't know. I don't think so. I think one day the time will come where I'm going to have my fun with it and let it go. Do I really want to look the buyer in the eye and have them see this radiator and what I did to save $400 and call it quality work? That's the moral dilemma. So I don't think this is going to work out. I think I want to take the original radiator, which I'm fortunate to have, to be honest. Hopefully everything's okay there. I'm fortunate to have the original radiator to the truck. I hate passing up the opportunity to put an original part back on. I gotta be honest, the other big push here is I'm posting this to the public. I don't want people looking at me going, ugh, really, dude? $400 and you're doing this, you know? So I'm gonna cut it here and we'll come back to it. However, I'm not gonna throw in the towel for the day. I still have plenty to do. I'm gonna get to work on the fuel system and then we can come back to the cooling another time. Again, sorry for all the talking. Just want you to know where I'm at. Let's move on. Okay, welcome back. So here's what we got going on. I'm gonna be working on fuel line. I got my coil here, I got my fittings here. This is mainly what I'm gonna be replacing because that was cut post fuel pump. So that's the fuel pump there. The line is actually cut. The line is actually cut here prior to the pump, and then it was cut here as well. So I gotta make a line from here to the carburetor, which is gonna be a replacement for this one. The bottom line, the pre-fuel pump, what I'm gonna do down there is actually put a inline filter so I don't have to replace that whole line, because that is the line that goes all the way down to the fuel tank, which is underneath the passenger seat there. That'd be a major pain for one, but two, I want to put an inline filter, something that I can keep my eye on debris and whatnot. So I think I'm just going to shorten that up a bit, put some rubber hose and an inline filter, call that one good, and then just replace this one that goes to the carburetor. I also picked up a new fuel pump because I'm a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And I just have a sneaky suspicion that this one's going to be bad. It was an affordable piece. Can't remember how much it was, but on Rock Auto it was, cheap. Probably 30 bucks or something. I don't know. So I just made the assumption that we're going to be replacing that. Hopefully this is the correct one. It's by Carter. So we'll yank that, replace it, make up a new line, throw in a filter, and then we should be good to go to use the original fuel tank system. Enough yapping. I am so tired of talking. I'm going to get to work here. So, to be honest, I think this fuel pump might be good. It's so easy to get to that if it ends up not working, then I have the part. I can just replace it real quick. But I'm gonna pull this filter off of it to see. I will say the gasket material looks pretty dry rotted, so it might be old, but it looks very clean. But the main thing that is making me want to keep it on for now is, hopefully you can hear this, listen. You can hear the diaphragm moving in there. So she could be good. Brand new filter. Clean this out. Which leaves me very confused. All right, back on this goes. Okay, hopefully you could see what I was doing there, but it was pretty self-explanatory. I was just using the water neck actually off of this rig. Ended up being a perfect circumference to make my initial bend, which was definitely the hardest of the few bends I needed to make. But it's, you know, it's just a slow process. It's nothing difficult. You just kind of shape the line how you need it. And I'll show you where we're sitting at. So here's essentially what's going on. This loops up into here. We gotta put a fitting on this so we can attach to the carb. Then we run around here, jog around where the water net goes, and we dive down to our fuel pump down here. So I'm gonna wait to make this bend for now until I figure out where exactly that's going to go once I have that fitting on there, and then we'll get that last bend done and throw the fitting on, and that should be it for our fuel system. So after that, I'm going to throw some gas in the tank, which I don't even know if I have gas around here. I don't think I do. So I'm going to go get gas and then see if this thing will fire back up on the actual fuel pump. Okay, now we're going to make our double flare on this line, and if you've never done it before, pay attention. It's not that difficult. Step one, like every good project starts, you're gonna go to Amazon, pick up your cheapest kit you can find. They look a little something like this. All right, so if you haven't cut it already, they give you a little cutter here, and you're gonna find the button that is the correct size. This is a 5/16 line. Okay, all we're gonna do is take our little tool here. Before you get carried away, don't forget to put your fitting on first. So here's our new fitting. We'll slide that on. Okay, throw our clamp on, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your button flush. This little shelf that's right here, flush with the top of this shelf is going to be the end of your line in the clamp. All right, so throw this on, kind of get it where it needs to be. Button up, it's about right there. Tighten her down. So this is what I was talking about. See how the end of my line's sticking out? It's level with the button. Throw our flaring tool on, just like that. Throw our button on. This is going to be a little difficult because of my crazy bend that I have in this, but you're just going to clamp it down. You'll feel it start to fold over on itself, and then you can finish her up from there. Now you don't want to give her all the ugga-duggas, just make sure it's seated. You're going to loosen up your clamp and take your button out, and then you're going to put your clamp back on without the button, and that'll basically clean up the hole. Okay, take it all off, and this is what you're left with. Nice and easy. All right, I'm gonna throw this into place, and then we'll get to working on the last little bend on the bottom and get that seated in, and we'll be all set. Well, unfortunately, I think I have the wrong style fitting down there for that fuel pump, but that's okay. I just won't be able to test it out today, but this project is done. Fuel line is in, just got to swap out that fitting down there. If you didn't know how to do fuel line, now you do. So for you guys, it'll be right now, but for me, it'll be coming back another day. See you in a minute. Well, crappy day for me. Probably looks pretty for you, but the reason why I want to jump out here is because I finally got a radiator, and it looks dang good. You'd be surprised to know, yes, this is the original radiator that I was holding up before and I could look through. But now we got a pretty paint job, Recore is done, and I mean, I broke the bank, but I didn't break the bank. I apologize for the length of time it took for this video to come out, but I was really trying to, budget myself with this thing. So I found a place, if you're a Cleveland local, a place called Thomas Radiator in Elyria. They did a great job. They threw a coat of paint on it, which I wasn't expecting. Cash deal, the guy worked with me on price, $500 cash, and I got that thing done. Yeah, still a lot of money, but to avoid all the fiddling around with the aluminum radiator, being stuck with an aluminum radiator and not the original, and just the ease of install that this is going to be for me. I mean, we were talking probably a couple hours versus this is going to take me 5 minutes to throw back in. I just got to find the right size bolts because I don't have the original bolts. So it's snowing, it's crappy out, but I just got off work, and before the sun goes down, I want to throw this thing in. That way tomorrow morning we can see if we could fire this thing up, get it cooling, see if the fuel pump works, and then if it's reliably running, we'll do a little oil change, filter change, which may have even been done recently, but we'll do it anyway. And then following that, we're going to get this thing on the road. So bear with me. I'm going to throw this radiator in, and then we'll be back in the morning to fire this thing up, hopefully. Try not to scratch the new paint job. Not bad. I'm an idiot. Don't forget your new thermostat. Now, you can test your old one by just throwing it in a pan with some boiling water in it and watching the spring open and close when it comes to temperature. Hopefully you're not using your wife's good all-clad stainless steel pan, but, old pan. See if it opens up. Test it out. But they're so cheap, they're only a couple bucks. Just grab a new one. Also, if you're working with like a V series engine, a V6, V8, make sure you got your vent hole running in the right direction. For an inline engine, it doesn't matter. I think before I put this top hose on, I'm going to get my belt on. Okay, really struggled getting that bottom bolt loose. The alternator, but I got it. So now, as I'm really running out of daylight, just want to get this belt on and the hoses. Good. Tighten that bottom one back up. Alright, well, I really killed a lot of time there messing with that alternator bolt on the bottom. That thing was just frozen solid with all the rust. So anyway, I'm about out of daylight. As you can see, the engine bay is pretty dark, so I'm going to save my battles for the morning. Those hoses will be a lot easier when I got some daylight, and hopefully it stops snowing. So I'll wait for the morning, throw those hoses on, and we'll get this thing going. See you in the morning. Well, it was supposed to stop snowing anyway. But here we are. It's still snowing. Kind of an oh well type of situation. I want to get this done, so we're going to get it done. All right, take your bets. How old is this coolant? I think I pulled this out of my Jeep Wrangler that I had years ago. It had a toolbox in the back. Thing was a rust bucket, but it's unopened and it's the good green stuff. It's just been sitting in the back of my cabinet, and I keep telling myself use that stuff up, and I still haven't. So today we're going to use it in our fresh new radiator. Let's see if I spill any. Oh, perfect. Easy now. Easy. Probably should have started with water first to check for leaks. Now would probably be a good time to do that. So far so good. Alright, now we go water. Now there was already some coolant in the block. I flushed it a little bit when we were having that heat spell, but the capacity is supposed to be 4 gallons for the full cooling system. That would be radiator and block. Okay, now this is just regular coolant still, but this is a 50-50 mix. I usually don't ever get a 50-50 mix, but stuff might have been on sale or something. All right, looks like that might be it for now, but I'm sure we'll have to top it off once she's circulating. But let's see if we can't get fuel up to this pump and see if she'll fire up for us. Okay, so I've just got a longer hose connected to my filter down there. I've got gas in the tank, and I'm just gonna prime the system by sucking on this end. And hopefully I don't get gas in my mouth, but this is long enough, I probably shouldn't. Where am I leaking? Water neck? Okay, made my first mess of the day. Back to priming the fuel system. There it is. Ugh. Nothing better than some crappy fuel and a rusty gas tank to get you going in the morning. Ugh. Alright, but now we're primed. I think we should be good to go at this point. I'm going to start by filling the carb up top, and then hopefully we start to see the fuel pump start pumping. But until then, I'll be filling it with this water bottle. And yes, that is gasoline. You'd be surprised to know that this is actually what came out of the temporary tank that we had this running off of last time. The fuel isn't old, I think it's just kind of died from the rust in the tank. Plus I have a little bit of syrupy additive in there. My main question is though, can it Kirkland? We're gonna find out. I'm gonna flip the key. See if this thing won't fire up for us. It's been a minute. Battery would help. All right, let's see here. Man, that battery is just garbage, isn't it? Oh, I'm pumping. I hate flooding this thing down with ether, but it just wasn't running otherwise. Alright, now let's try it. See if we can't get this thing going. Here we go. Sounds like crap, but it needs an exhaust really bad. If you can believe it, the exhaust leak has gotten worse. Half the muffler's on the ground. My neighbors are gonna hate me. I'm still waiting for the thing to get up to temperature. It's running really good. It's just really, you know, it's open header right now, so it doesn't like it. See that right there? That's the muffler. Oh well. It also kind of wants to stay in gear. which is why I jacked it up, because I wanted to see if it had gears, and it does. But I don't think I have it first. Not sure, we'll have to look into that one. Alright, thermostat's starting to open up. I don't know where I put my cap. I'm gonna need it here in a minute. I did, I dropped it. Now the fan's starting to sling coolant everywhere. Shoot! Alright, success. We are cooling. It's actually running quite nice. My glasses are full of coolant. Sweet. Still hearing a little bit of top end noise. We'll have to check that out. I think I have a valve cover gasket leak anyway, so I'll probably have to get in there. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of let it be. But I think we're good to do an oil change on this. So I'm gonna throw a pan underneath, shut her off, and get her draining. And then I got to figure out what kind of filter to put back in here, because I got no idea. So let's do that. Okay. It is really snowing again. Oh, hello. Oh, come on now. Holy crap. Oh, jeez. That was on there. Drain pan going. Hopefully this drain pan's big enough.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, boy. Boy. There's a lot of fuel in that. A lot of fuel in that. Well, too late now. Wow. Moses. That was so much worse than I was expecting. Well, clean up on aisle 7. Well, the good news is, it looks like my plug's in pretty good shape. Just a little bit of like fine material, but nothing heavy. Bad news is, that oil was in terrible shape. There's a lot of fuel in it, which is why it came out like it did. Wasn't expecting that at all. My glasses are even more covered now, so I'm glad that I didn't clean them before. And I got my good Carhartt. Now this is gonna smell like oil for forever. Doesn't matter how many times you wash it. Well, let's get the filter off. Okay, now for the part that is what I thought I was gonna need rubber gloves for, the filter. Now these filters are old school. It's like, nowadays you just screw on the pre-made filter. This is what's called a canister style, so you keep the outer shell and you replace the paper element on the inside. Okay. There should be a drain plug for it. Just full of fuel. Just goes to show why you can't guess on your oil and the last time it was changed, because I was pretty confident that stuff looked good, but it did not. apparently. There we go. Reach. Incoming. Okay, like I was saying, canister style. Yuck, that looks terrible. That's a convenient place to hold it. So here's your old filter. And that is what I'm going to take to Napa to match up and hopefully get a new one of. Well, I've got good news and bad news. Two pieces of good news first. Good news number one, I cleaned my glasses. Good news number two, the sun came out. Now for the bad news. I called around. The soonest I can get that oil filter is Tuesday. And today is Saturday. I'm pretty much done with this video. All I was going to do was throw that cartridge back up and fill her with oil. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap up, clean up, finish cleaning up my mess under the truck, jump inside, frantically edit this video, and have it out to you tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock sharp. However, where does that leave you? Well, it leaves you without a view of me putting the oil filter back on and filling it up with oil. If that really hurts your feelings, I am so sorry, but I'm just not going to do it. I'll do it off camera, or maybe sneak it into the opening scene of next week's video, where we work on the brakes. I'm assuming the brakes are going to be a pain, so I'm going to get started bright and early tomorrow morning, and hopefully I can get that video wrapped up by the end of the week. If I don't, it'll be the week after, but that's all we got left to do is brakes, bleed the clutch, and we're going to have this thing on the road. It's running all right. I'm going to pick up a muffler for it so it doesn't sound just god-awful, and we'll be driving this thing hopefully next week. So with that, like I said, I'm going to get to work here. I'll leave the video here. I hope y'all enjoyed this little update. Not a lot going on in this one. I was expecting a little more fabricobbling with the radiator going on, but fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't have to fabricobble that radiator in. So I'm happy. We're going to bring this one to a close here. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please show me by liking the video, sharing it, subscribing, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTokies, @KnockRanch. Nice and simple. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. But do not forget, don't be afraid to grab that wrench, get after it. See you next time.